My rich dad forbade his son and me to say the words I can't. He says, ask yourself, how can I? The reason I have so much money is because I don't say I can't do it. I just go, how can I do it? And I just go and do it. I make a lot of mistakes, but that's how I learn. How can I? The poor people, like my poor dad, always said I can't afford it. Do you think I'm made of money? I'm a school teacher. I can't do that. And I picked that up. And my rich dad never said those words. So when I meet poor people, they use the words I can't a lot. You know, it's like my wife, Kim, is gorgeous, you know, absolutely drop dead gorgeous. The first thing I said is, she won't go out with me. You know, and my friends kept saying, she'll never go out with you. And I said, well, if I let that stop me, she never will. So I asked her out for 6 months. So, do you know what I mean? It's what goes on between this year and in our hearts that determine our lives out there. There's no world out there except what's going on here. So the people that say, I can't afford it, I can't do this, I can't get to college, the rich are evil, you know, I choose not to participate in that.
And that's one thing people could change today.
Correct.
Right now is that dialogue in their head. Stop saying the word can't.
I can't.
Right.
So how can I?
How can I? Especially as in, I can't afford it, how can I afford that?
Right.
Because that opens them up to looking at it as an investment to a greater future.
It's just a matter of personal willpower, which is spiritual. Just saying, if they can do it, I can do it.
And how can I?
How can I?
And I think it's you once said, words become flesh.
Yep. Humanity is evolving. So the question, you know, I had to ask myself, what does God want done in the evolution of life? I don't think God wants people to be poor. And today in the world, America especially, is this gap between the rich and everybody else. And I know the game of the rich. You know, my rich dad taught me, you know it because you're the banker. The game the bankers and the rich play is different than what they teach you in school. And that's the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, my poor dad, PhD, stands for poor, helpless, and desperate. They don't know anything about money. And they're teaching our kids. And my rich dad was an entrepreneur who never finished school. I grew up in Hawaii. So all of the pieces of the puzzle, and when Fuller scolded me back in '83, the pieces of the puzzle and my life started to come together. And I understood what he was saying then. You know, he says, well, maybe we should stop ripping people off. You know, it might be a good thing. And, you know, the question I ask all over the world, what does school teach you about money? And the answer is nothing. And that's not a mistake. That's not an accident. I knew that. Most people know that. But the way to keep the poor and middle class working hard is never teach them what the rich know. So if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which came out in 1997, it's what the rich teach their kids about money, the poor and middle class do not. And so, and I had already retired. I made enough money at 47, so I didn't have to work again for the rest of my life. And I said, now what do I do with the rest of my life? And so that's when I came out with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the cash flow game. The rich don't work for money. Its number one expense is tax. See, there's three kinds of income: earned, portfolio, passive. So earned income is if I get a job, that's earned income. If I'm a doctor or a programmer, that's earned income because I'm working for it. If I buy, let's say, Apple for $10 and I sell it for $20, that's portfolio income, capital gains.
Yeah.
But passive income, which is cash flow, is never taxed. So it's not, and so these guys are screaming right now in America, tax the rich. I said, good luck. Because most of the guys complaining, they don't know there's three kinds of income. And the rich don't have jobs anyway. They have assets. And so the average schmo out there, poor guy, you know, sent the kid to school. They don't learn this. So that's why in Fake, as you were talking about it, there's a newspaper article about Jared Kushner. And he explains how the Trumps and the Kushners don't pay taxes and make millions of dollars. And the reporter couldn't understand him. because they're not, our schools will never teach you that 3 types of income.
And they judged him and say they're wrong and it's cheating. And we see that over and over again. Amazon not paying taxes. What do you say to people when they come up to you and say, Robert, it's not fair. It's not fair they're not paying taxes.
Well, there's always 3 sides to a coin, heads, tails, and the edge. So which side of the coin are you on? From my side, it's fair. But this is the difference. Everybody can do the same thing I do, because the tax laws are for everybody. We don't say, well, the tax laws are only for the rich. No, the tax laws are for everybody to use if you have the right financial education. And the reason I'm an advocate of financial education, without that education, you have to pay taxes. You see, very few people will buy what I do, make $1 million and pay 0 tax. That takes, and my rich dad taught me that playing Monopoly. That's how it started, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. Or the McDonald's formula, I write about it here. McDonald's, Ray Kroc.
Yeah.
McDonald's is in the real estate business. So they sell hamburgers, but they buy real estate, so they pay no taxes. This guy Bezos, he's $16 billion. How much tax did they pay on that $16 billion? 0.
And that's all legal. Anyone can do it.
Everybody can do it.
But most people lack the education.
Correct.
So Jared learned about money when he was a kid by watching his father, by watching these people invest in real estate, and said, wow, not only do you get to make the money, you get to keep the money. That's a big problem a lot of people don't understand. Look how much money I made, but how much did you keep? Because that could be half.
How much tax did you pay?
Right, what tax did you pay? And so you always say, this is the law. The law is true for every citizen. You can do it, but most people just don't do it. Sometimes, like you said, they don't have the education.
Taxes are incentives. The reason I get tax breaks for real estate is because I provide housing. I get tax breaks for providing jobs. I get tax breaks for providing oil. And I get tax breaks for providing food. But most people see me as a crook. I'm not. The US government wants me to provide housing, wants me to provide jobs, wants me to borrow money, because that's how money is created, through debt. If people understood the tax code, we'd be more prosperous.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Right? Because more people would be entrepreneurial.
Correct.
And creating things that would help the economy, starting jobs, creating jobs, starting companies.
We got starvation all over the world. Just provide food. You provide food, the government gives you a tax break.